Hey everybody, what's going on? So today in this video we're going to be talking about flipping jigs. Now this is more a video about flipping everything over just flipping jigs, because I normally don't flip jigs. If I was you and you wanted to start flipping, this is mainly for flipping trees, because there is a tree in the water. But if you are going to start flipping, do not throw a jig when you first start, because you have to be kind of an experienced person, in my opinion, to throw a jig flipping. I would rather throw a Texas rig, because Texas rigs, you can just throw them just about everywhere and not even have to worry about them getting snagged up as much as a jig. Now, I don't have a Texas rig tied on, so I don't have it like I want it to be. I'm going to tie on a Texas rig here pretty soon, but I'm kind of running out of daylight, as y'all can see, and I want to get this video done and made. That way I can post it in the morning before I go turkey hunt. So how I approach a brush pile like you see right there. Now, what I usually do if I'm in a boat, ooh, there's a bluegill down there, you guys see that? I got the fly rod with me, so maybe fly rod video coming up too. But anyway, if you're flipping, the best thing to do is approach from far away at first. I mean. The best thing to do is approach from a little bit further away. And you'll see some of the bigger pros, like, I know Mike Iaconelli done an episode of the Major League Fishing on, like, what he won the tournaments on. And that's what he was doing. He was actually flipping docks with a little finesse jig. And most of his fish were actually coming after he would cast from far away. But the best way to flip this type of brush is go to the edges first. Now, I actually done this video once and had the jig snagged up in the middle when I tried to make a perfect daggum. There's another blow up over there. I might need to get that fly out. But anyway, but I actually broke off because I was trying to pull like half the brush pile in. And so that's why that blue pole cutter is over there. But yeah, I just been sitting here and flipping this right in there. Now, something else that a lot of people get discouraged by is when you flip over a branch. Now, if you're using a Texas rig, like I said, it works a lot better, but a jig, you can get discouraged by that and think that your jig is gone. Don't think that, because that is sometimes when you can get some of the bigger bites, is when you bring that jig right up there to the bank, or right up there to the top of the limb. It's like so. I just flipped over that limb, I brought it up, and now it's sitting there on that limb. You just sit there and shake it, and it'll look like a little bluegill or something stuck there. And as soon as you bring it over that limb, you let it sink down, and usually you'll catch a fish. I've done that many times with not only jigs but also Texas rigs. There's another blow up there. Jigs, Texas rigs, crankbaits. No, I'm not talking about crankbaits. I meant frogs. I don't know why I said crankbaits. But yeah, I've done that many times with different baits. Frogs, jigs, Texas rigs, shaky heads. I've done it. Actually, I think one of my first fish I ever caught on a shaky head was doing that right up in a willow branch. I had the shaky head stuck in it, and I was just dangling it over the water, and one came up and grabbed it. That was a pretty cool strike, because I got to see him just come up there and bring it right down. Broke the limb out, and I set the hook, and I caught it. But yeah, if you're going to approach brush like this, do not go crashing straight through the middle when you cast, because if you do that, then you're going to scare just about every fish out of your area. So if you're going to stand right here and you're going to fish this brush, let me get on a little bit better spot right here. So if you're standing here and you're looking at this brush and you know for a fact there's some fish in there, because maybe you've seen them busting, like that bluegill just did again over there. Maybe you've seen them busting, or maybe you've seen some bait fish in there and you know the bass have got to be in there. Don't go straight through the middle like that. Go right there on that edge. You go on that edge and fix the camera down to where you guys can see a little bit better. But you go down on the edge. Oops, right, just like that. You go right there on the edge, and the reason why, ooh, I might have just had a bite there. Flip it right back in there, maybe. But like I said, get it on the edge And then once you have it on the edge right there, you can sit there and flip it multiple times. And if you don't get bit on the first cast, or if you maybe get bit on the very first cast, you know, pick them off the edge. If you catch a few over here, flip right there. You know, flip on that edge. If you catch one over there, you know, flip right back in there. Bring it over that limb. You know, flip it right back in there again. If you catch a couple over there, then best thing to do is to switch up your angles. Now, for bank fishermen, it's a little bit more difficult than it is for like a boat fisherman. A boat fisherman, if he's at his boat over there, he could just flip in here, and he can bring it around, flip the center, flip over here. But a bank fisherman, it's a little bit more difficult. So how do you do it if you're a bank fisherman? Ooh, I'm going to have to get my fly rod. There's no doubt about it. I've been seeing way too much activity not to get my fly rod out. Just like this. You go over here, just like that. You flip and you reach what you can. That's the best way I can describe it, is you reach whatever you can. And if you can't reach it, try your best to reach it. Just like that. You flip right in there a few times. You know, flip right there on that edge. You know, and if you can't go to the bank, which I could if I wanted to, but I'm trying to teach some of you bank fishermen how to do it, because I know the struggle. Trust me, I know the struggle. I found a spot once. It was so good. I was getting so many bites, and I was basically, lack of a better term, I was banned from going on the other side. I had to stay on one side because the landowner would not let me go over there on the dock. So I basically just made do with what I did, or made do with what I had, and casted at it from a couple different angles down the bank, just trying to get some bites. And I ended up catching pretty good fish using a swim jig, or actually it was a swim bait with an actual swim jig head on it with no skirt. But that and a white trick worm, weightless. But just like that, you can sit there and do that. You can flip in there, and then, which I'm not going to do it because I've already broken this jig off once, and super luckily I got it back. But you can then, after you pick off a few around the edges, you can come straight through the center. Now I know right there, there's nothing there that I can even get hooked on, so I can flip there. There's the center. You know, you can flip right in that center. You know, if you're feeling gutsy, or if you have a Texas rig on, you can flip right straight through there. You know, I am not going to, because that's where I broke off this jig. But you can flip right in the center right there. You know, you can flip over there. And if you're even feeling even more gutsy, you can flip out towards the edge. I mean, if you have some big line and a stiff rod to where you can pull him back out, you can go right on ahead and do that. But I'm not going to do that because I don't want to lose a jig again. So yeah, that's basically how I love to approach these type of places. Now, the baits that I would approach these type of places with, obviously a Texas rig and a shaky head. Like I said a second ago, I've actually caught some of my, not only some of my better fish, but some of my first fish on a shaky head doing that, throwing it over branches on a brush pile and just bringing it right over really slowly. And I've caught some pretty good fish doing that. I've also caught them just flipping it like normal. But another bait that's really good for it is weightless Senkos, Texas rig Senkos. You know, you don't want to go and throw like a jig head swim bait in the middle of it. That's not going to work. But I mean, you can throw like a Texas rig swim bait. I've done that, and I've caught a couple pretty good sized fish doing that. It's something that a lot of people don't think of doing, is Texas rigging swim baits and flipping them. That's something that I've actually never seen people do, but I've caught fish doing it. So yeah, that's basically how I approach these type of places. Now, another things you can do if your fish are maybe a little bit more, how do I say it, a little bit more active, you can flip up there, cast it, and just really slowly swim it back out. I seen a guy win a whole tournament, a FLW tournament, doing that exact thing with a little white swim jig. And I think I covered that in my in-depth swim jig video as well. But yeah, flipping it and then swimming it out real slowly, And he won that whole tournament doing that exact thing with just a white swim jig. But yeah, so that's basically how I attack a big brush pile like that. You know, flipping. So, once again, like I normally say, if y'all have any suggestions for baits that y'all want me to do videos on, I am very, very open to suggestions. I will definitely do any of your guys' suggestions, as long as I can actually see the comment, because sometimes YouTube does not give me the notification, so I don't know that you even commented. So if I do miss your suggestion, just comment it again on the next one or whatever. So yeah. But anyway, there you go. There is the in-depth video of the week on flipping brush piles. So thanks for watching. I hope you learned something in this video. If you did, make sure you guys give it a big like. That way I know to keep doing these. I know a lot of people in like the past couple episodes have been really into it and really liking these in-depth videos. So I will definitely keep doing them, because it's a lot of fun for me to be out here actually doing it, and instead of, you know, other people who are out there in a room talking about doing it. Which, I mean, I've done that during the winter time when I literally couldn't get on the water. But, I mean, it's a lot of fun for me just in the fact that I can actually show it to you exactly what I'm doing. You know, flipping it. Oops. Line around the eye tie. That does not make a good flip. You know, flipping right there, letting it sit, waiting, let it fall down to the bottom, lift it up, reel it back up. You know, I can actually show you exactly what I'm doing. And it's almost, I mean, it's basically like you guys are actually here watching me do it. So yeah. Hope you guys like it. Thanks for watching. Bye.